need to take action now. Week 10 is over, but did you catch the most important parts? If not, no worries, because I've got your back. These are the players you need to add immediately. And we're starting with the Bucks rookie running back Rachaad White, who actually started the game on Sunday, and he ended up playing by far the most snaps, but we have to break this down because in this game, Leonard Fournette got injured. Now, before the injury, White was still the lead back, playing 56% of the snaps. But the exciting information is that after Fournette left with injury and he was doubtful to return immediately, so chances are he could miss next week, White played 80% of the snaps. And this overall usage led to a great day of 22 touches for over 100 yards. By far, both of these were the most usage he's seen on the season. Now, he's available in over 50% of leagues still, 56% to be exact, and here's what you need to know. This dude is an elite pass catcher. He earned 19% of his team's college targets, which is unreal for a running back. Anything above 10% is great. It leads all rookie RBs this year. So you want to add White and then this next rookie. And that would be Packers rookie wide receiver, the second-round pick that they tried to get in the first round, but the Vikings would not trade for them, with Christian Watson, who's available in, believe it or not, 92% of leagues. And this week 10 was fantastic for Watson. He was second amongst the wide receivers, only behind Allen Lazard in snaps, but everything else was fantastic. It was a season-high 84% of the snaps and led to a big day because he had over 100 yards on 4 catches and 3 touchdowns. Not 1, 2, but 3. He actually could have had another score in this game, but he didn't see the ball. Now, the 4 catches aren't sustainable, but he earned 8 targets, which is actually 40% of the Packers' targets this week, the most of any receiver on the team this season. And let's not forget how much of an athletic freak he is. These are his workout metrics. He had top 5% speed, burst, catch radius. Only 2 other wide receivers of all time were as athletic as he was coming out. When you account for size, only Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones have been more athletic prospects. Pretty good players to be in the same category as. And this usage is only going to continue because Romeo Doubs is going to miss another month of the season. Randall Cobb is still not out, and he just produced, so now more trust from Aaron Rodgers. So grab the rookie athletic freak and also get Donovan Peoples-Jones, who we've been talking about, but the guy continues to produce. As you see, over the last 3 weeks, his snaps have been increasing, and then in this week, they increased again, playing 93% of the snaps, which means in back-to-back weeks, he's now set career highs in snaps, and he's averaging over the last 6 games 74 yards per game. That's fantastic. Top 20 amongst receivers. And now all this alone is fantastic reasons to be adding him and playing him in your fantasy leagues, but there's even more good news. And that would be that Deshaun Watson is returning soon, and Donovan Peoples-Jones is a fantastic downfield vertical threat because of his burst and speed, and Deshaun Watson, since 2019, is top 5 in deep ball accuracy. This is a fantastic combination for Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is quietly breaking out right now. So add Peoples-Jones and then this next wide receiver. And that would be Paris Campbell, who there's a lot of moving pieces here, but he benefited immensely this past week from the veteran Matt Ryan starting for the Colts. It led to Campbell seeing 9 targets, and this good usage should continue because the Colts changed their offense in week 6, and Matt Ryan has played 3 games under these conditions. And over these 3 games with Matt Ryan, Campbell is averaging nearly 21 fantasy points per game and nearly 11 targets per game. And that just continued this past week, where he basically hit on those averages, seeing 9 targets, almost 21 fantasy points, and 7 receptions. So grab Campbell and then yet again another rookie RB. And that would be Isaiah Pacheco, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they're down to just 2 running backs in their rotation. You see, they basically phased out the former first-round pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This number right here, 4, is the amount of snaps he played this past week. Just 6% of the total snaps allocation. And if he's only playing 6% of the snaps, it means the other 2 running backs involved, the veteran Jerick McKinnon and the rookie in question, Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, they're getting more usage. Now, more specifically, Pacheco saw 16 carries on a season-high 56% of the snaps, 82 yards. All of this, everything I just mentioned, is season-high usage. He only had 7.2 fantasy points, so maybe it makes it a little bit easier to go get him on your waivers. He's available in almost 70% of leagues. But that's not all. He has the 5th easiest remaining schedule amongst all running backs. And he opens the fantasy playoffs against the Houston Texans, who currently rank dead last by a wide margin in run defense. So grab Pacheco as soon as possible and then add this next veteran. And that would be Gus Edwards, who's worth an add. Look, he was limited in week 8 with injury, and then he ended up missing week 9. But here's what you need to know. He was just on the bye week, and according to reports, he is going to be good to go this week. He could have probably played actually in week 10, but they were being cautious with this hamstring. It's only a mild hamstring though. Now, he's completed 1 game this season, played in it in full, and he had 16 carries. He had over 18 fantasy points, finding the end zone a couple of times, and he only played on about 35% of the snaps in this game. Meaning that if he ends up playing 50 to 60% of the snaps at any point this year, maybe even this week, that's going to start to become more consistent, that type of production. So add Edwards and then this next veteran wide receiver. And I'm talking about Jarvis Landry, who actually returned finally from injury this past week, and it looked real good for him. Landry ended up playing 79% of the team snaps. This was a season high, but also a team high, and that's not all. He also led the Saints with 6 targets and 3 receptions. And now remember, Michael Thomas, remember him? Yeah, he's on IR and going to miss the rest of the season. So Landry, who was seeing a good role before getting injured, Michael Thomas was actually playing then and now he's not, which means that there's going to be more consistency in Landry's playing time and his slot usage where he's really efficient. So get him and then this next tight end. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe for more. And that would be Foster Moreau, who's worth an ad because Darren Waller continues to miss weeks, continues to not practice at all, and if he's not going to keep playing, well, more usage for Moreau. And Moreau this past week had his best day. He ends up scoring 13 fantasy points because he finds the end zone, but the underlying usage is the big thing. I don't want to add him just because he found the end zone, but the stuff he's doing is going to make his production consistent. And what is he doing? Well, in 4 games without Waller, he's playing over 96% of the snaps now, and he's earned at least 4 targets in each game, averaging over 6 per game for a tight end that's basically tight end 1 usage. And not to mention, Hunter Renfro's dealing with injury and going to miss some time. This man is on the field in the red zone a lot, and Derek Carr trusts him. So add him, especially in deeper leagues. And like we said last week, you should go get Odell because he's still available in 53% of leagues, and he's officially, as of right now, cleared to play football. Now, the latest update on Odell is that he wants to take about 2 weeks to get himself into football shape, quote unquote football shape, but here's what this basically means. He just wants to see who's going to be the contenders in about a couple of weeks. He wants to return for the last part of the season, get into the playoffs, and have an actual chance to get back to the Super Bowl like he was last year. So at the start of December, expect Odell to sign with a contender, meaning he'll probably have a good quarterback, and that's right in time for the fantasy playoffs, and he could be a league winner for you. So pick him up and pick up the Steelers rookie running back, and that is Jaylen Warren, who is available in over somehow over 70% of leagues right now. Now, Warren this past week played 36 snaps. This was 43% of the snaps, and it was the most snaps he's played in a game where Najee Harris actually played. There wasn't a blowout. Harris wasn't injured. Most that Warren has played. And there's actually something to this usage. There was rumors of more playing time, and after the game, head coach Mike Tomlin said, well, Warren was deserving of more reps, and what transpired today was reflective of that. They want to give this guy more touches, and they are. Plus, their running backs coach after the game said you can expect a near split moving forward because we want to protect the longevity of Najee Harris, quote unquote, the longevity of Najee Harris. Look, I'm adding Warren this week. He's a priority ad, but you also want to be buying his stock. Warren's stock price is only $2.50 on Mojo, the sports stock exchange, and over the last 24 hours, this is kind of the crazy part, it's only up 1%, even though he just saw his best usage. Now, to put this in perspective for you, the average running back has a stock price of $8.62. So Warren is currently 71% cheaper than the average running back in the NFL. Even though he's already splitting snaps with a former first-round pick in Najee Harris, he ranks 7th in yards per touch this season, and the organization he plays for is a good one. Because the Steelers and Mike Tomlin value the running game, and the organization awards players based on merit, based on how they produce, and they'll give them contracts. They'll stay there for a while, which is the point of owning a player's stock. So you want to add Warren and buy his stock right now on Mojo. It's linked down below in the description. Now, you also want to pick up Kadarius Toney, who's still available somehow in 50% of leagues, and here's what he did in week 10. Toney ended up seeing his snaps increase massively from 9% to 44%, playing 28 total snaps, and it led to some production. He ended up earning 19 fantasy points on 6 touches. He had 4 receptions and 2 carries. Now, half of these touches, 3 of them were explosive plays of 15 plus yards. But there's more because his wide receiver core, they're banged up, meaning you're going to probably see more usage for Toney moving forward. You have Juju Smith-Schuster, who left this game with a concussion and is now in the concussion protocol. MVS left the game during it, ended up getting evaluated for an injury as well. And McCole Hardman missed this past game with injury. So after that, you're not left with much. Well, you have a very good first-round pick in Kadarius Toney. So get Toney and then this next RB. And you want to add the Bengals backup running back Samaje Perine, especially in deeper leagues, and let me explain. Perine has earned 91% of the backup snaps this year behind Joe Mixon. 91%. He is as clear of a handcuff as any in the NFL, yet he's available in almost every single league. Plus, the third-string running back Chris Evans out of Michigan, he's an electric player. He suffered a knee injury before the bye week, which sets him back even further in this rotation. Now, check out this next stat. It's why you're going to want to have Perine on your team. Joe Mixon currently ranks 1st in running back usage. He's 3rd in targets, 3rd in carries, and 1st in red zone touches. You average that all together, he is the #1, numero uno running back in usage. So your takeaway is that Mixon is clearly the guy, but if he misses time, Samaje is going to step into a potentially elite role, and he's available in 95% of leagues. Now, the goal of adding these players is to help you win your fantasy league. And that's also the goal of trading, where you could be a little bit more strategic picking off more players. And this video right here is going to show you the exact players you should be trading for, not now, but right now.